For archiving purposes, would you state your name and spell it for us?
Okay. I'm Monsignor Thomas Klinzing, Thomas Klinzing.
And your official title,
My
Monsignor?
official title is Pastor St. Edward's and Judicial Vicar for the Diocese of Palm Beach.
This is fun. I haven't gotten to do this one yet. Describe yourself as a child to me. What were you like when you were younger?
I was a middle child, and we came from a family that was a little bit different because two cousins who were boys, their father died and their mother moved in for a 2-week vacation and stayed 17 years. So I had 3 brothers plus 2 cousins, and we were 6 boys, and we ruled the town. We were the bullies.
Really?
Of the town, and my poor sister, she had a tough time. But we had a great childhood. We lived in a small little town of just straight streets, by 4 streets. We walked to school, come home for lunch, and went back to school. And we had the Sisters of St. Joseph from grades 1 through 8. And the sisters were neighbors. We had 3 on one side and 5 on another, that they would come home in the summer. So the sisters, they were our friends. We always thought of them that way, rather than being fearful of them, so we never were afraid to go to school. And they gave us all kinds of work to do, to keep us busy. But it was an interesting childhood because we were so close to the church. I think that's where my vocation came from the sisters and the priest, because we cleaned the basement of the convent. We would scrub the porch, we cleaned the windows every Saturday, and Sundays we had to help them do things, so we became friends.
Wow, my vocation came from the sisters. Monsignor,
Yes.
that's a
That's
jewel.
big.
That is a jewel.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 37 women from the parish of only that small town that became Sisters of St. Joseph.
Oh my goodness.
Which is amazing.
Where exactly?
It's a town called Freeport, Pennsylvania. It's on the Allegheny River, northeast of Pittsburgh, at the foot of the Alleghenies.
Oh my goodness. Besides the sisters, were there any other mentors or people who really influenced you?
Yes, the pastor, Father Monsignor Hansi, was a very good friend of the family, and he was the person I went to talk to when I had decided I wanted to be a priest. And he's the one that put me in the car, took me over to the bishop's house and said, he's going to the seminary, sign him up. That's how I got into the seminary. I didn't do any testing or anything, and I did the test afterwards.
How
But
old
Monsignor
were you?
Hansi said, he's good, the family's good, you're taking him. And I was done with college, so
Okay.
whenever I decided.
How old were you then?
I was 22. I had my degree in chemical engineering from the University of Pittsburgh.
My goodness.
And so then I decided I wanted to be a priest. And then the bishop decided after 2 years that I was his secretary to send me to become a lawyer, a canon lawyer. So that's how I got to be where I was at intertribunal work. Then I came to Florida because they needed a judge. They didn't have any. So I've been here for 20, I came with Andrew in 1992. I came in June and Andrew came in August. That's how I remember Hurricane Andrew.
My
And I've been at
goodness.
St. Edward's since then.
It's a lot of history.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the impact the Sisters of St. Joseph have had, I guess, regionally and, in this area.
In this area, okay.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the sisters were here at St. Edward's when I came, and there was Sister Margaret Victor, and Sister Margaret Jean, and Sister Noreen, and they lived across the street, and we got to know them immediately because Sister Margaret Victor was a control person, and she did many things in the parish. But the sisters, I associated with them immediately because I told them, I was educated by the Sisters of St. Joseph. I have to tell you a funny little story. My handwriting's not so good, so people tell me. And I said, well, blame the Sisters of St. Joseph. They taught me how to write. And I said, don't you dare blame us for that. But the sisters have always been a part of this parish, as long as I know. I don't know when they came. I believe they came under Monsignor McGranahan, but I'm not sure of that. But since I've been here, it's 20-some years they were here.
Well,
And
sister-
in fact, we just redid the convent 2 years ago.
Okay.
The convent was falling down. And I went over when I became pastor here after the priest died, and I went and looked at the convent and I said, no, you can't live like this. So I said, sister, you're going to Miami for 3 months, and we'll clean the convent and get it back in shape, so they all, and then Sister Elizabeth Ann came back, and Sister Florence came. Sister Florence said no when I asked her to come the first time. Because she said, I tried to tell her the mission here is very difficult. She was always in administration, never in parish ministry. And I said, the ministry to the wealthy is more difficult than the ministry to the poor. Because the wealthy don't think they need you. And they need you more than the poor do. And I said, if you can make a breakthrough here, you're going to see what a change you can make in people's lives. And she's done that. Okay. Whenever Sister Florence interviewed and came down and we talked, she was not interested in the work here because the parish was wealthy and she didn't think she had a place there. Sister Jane then said, I don't have anyone else, the sisters are going to be withdrawing. I wrote her a letter that was pretty nasty and told her the sisters were not withdrawing the convents here, and I'll hold them against their will. So I said to her, please find somebody. So a couple other sisters came and they weren't interested. Finally, Sister Florence said that it got to her conscience when I told her that the very wealthy are barely spiritually poor and need you more than the poor. Because they don't think they need anything in your life and you're a servant, but we have to show them, you know, how important it is to be part of the church. And she said that bothered her, she couldn't sleep. So she called me and says, I'll come down and try. I said, fine, you'll do great. So when she came, she was, for the first 3 months, she told me she was lost. And I said, sister, there's no pressure, just stay here. That's what I want you to do, and then you get used to the parish. Now she's on fire. Okay, she visits the sick regularly. She has a close relationship with some that are very, very handicapped. She's good with them. She runs our Eucharistic ministers and our lectors, and she substitutes at every Mass when she needs to, and she's always there. She reads at the morning Mass, and she runs spirituality classes for women, and she's just been a great addition to the parish. I call her my Sister Florence. I told Sister Jane, don't even think about transferring her. Okay. I'm very, very, very fond of her. Now, when Sister Elizabeth Ann had to go back, that was very sad for the parish. She was loved by the people here. And she refused a reception, but we had one small party for her anyway. But she knew she had to go back. She said, it's time. And I said, okay. And then Sister Florence says, are you going to close the convent? I said, no, we'll get Sister Joan. She's a Franciscan. So I said, can two of you live together in different communities? And I said, and Sister Joan needed a place to stay. She wanted to live in community, and she was living in an apartment, and she was transferring out of the school system. So two of them have now been in the convent. Elizabeth Ann was there, but now Elizabeth Ann's they're both in the convent. They both have jobs, and they only have the evenings together. But they're two great women, and they've changed the parish. You know, their presence has changed what goes on to St. Edward's.
That's great. You know what I'm wanting to do? You know, when we do interviews, we talk about the culture or the area in which.
Okay.
And here's the reason for it, because this would be great to put at the beginning of that little story.
Okay.
And when you talk about the parish
Okay.
right here.
Okay, let me tell you about the parish. The parish is a very difficult parish because you cannot visit. You cannot do a census. You have to call them, and you can't even get their phone numbers. And they won't tell you if there's somebody sick at home. They're very private. Very, very private. So it's very difficult for Sister to even, we put something in the bulletin, if you're sick, please call the parish. Nothing. She has to find out through people. And then she goes and visits. And then she gets into the homes, you know. And she's very kind. And she's gentle, but her presence is firm. She can tell these people with multi-millionaires what to do at the altar without any difficulty, which I give her a lot of credit for, that she knows her place and her position and her vocation. And everybody respects her, especially the staff here. You know, my staff said, we love her, don't you let her get away. I said, no, she's not going anywhere. I keep telling her that every fall, you know, whenever they think about changes. I said, you just stay here, you're doing fine. And I think now she's beginning, she told me she loves it here now. She's found a home. you know. How I sold it to Sister Jane was very simple. I said, "Sister, they live near the beach, they can walk to the grocery store, they can walk to mass, and it's safe." I said, "They can go out at night anytime and they don't have to worry." I said, "What a better convent could you have for a sister that even is up in years? Send somebody down."
Do you have, Monsignor, a story that maybe a parishioner has shared with you about their experience with Sister Florence? Or a group, or the Women's Guild, or anyone who may have given you some feedback?
Okay, we have a lady that, I'm not gonna use her name,
No,
okay?
of course
okay?
not.
She had a terrible accident in her in her apartment, and she laid, she fell and she laid for hours, for 2 days, and didn't move, and couldn't move. And her cat was missing. The neighbor said, "Where's her cat? We haven't seen the cat." So the neighbor got concerned, so went over and pounded on the door, and then heard her yelling for help, and then got the police to go in, but she was there 48 hours. Now, the doctors told her she would never walk and never be able to use her arms or anything. Okay, Sister Florence told me, who goes there every week and brings her all kinds of things and movies and that, she can move her arms now, and the doctor said maybe she's going to walk. And I give Sister Florence credit for that, because she's given her hope. And her constant coming every week or every few days to be there to encourage her, I think it's gonna change that woman's life. It has changed it already.
Already.
You know. But, and we have other ladies the same way, that, you know, they open up to her. I'll tell you another story. We have a lady that has Alzheimer's, but she still can function, and she has a companion with her. And the companion comes to mass with her, and not Catholic, sits there, and even goes over to these classes that Sister has on spirituality. Well, for 7 months, she's been coming. She's now talked to Sister and opened up, told her problems, and she says maybe she must have become Catholic. You know, so Sister touched that life of somebody who was absolutely not concerned with anybody. It was a job, and by her presence and her ministry, you know, this lady's opened up and is becoming a better person. And that, to me, that's a miracle. That's why she didn't want to
Maybe we could
stay.
do a whole documentary
Yeah.
on him.
I don't know where to go from
That's
there.
that's really why Sister didn't want to stay, because she's embarrassed. Because she knows she does good work, but she won't talk about it.
Right, sure.
Believe me, Monsignor, we've been trying to get them all to talk about themselves. It's
Yeah, and they're very closed.
Yeah,
You know.
they're-
Did you have a good day? Yes.
Yeah, can you explain that a little bit, yeah.
And, you know, the other thing is, that to her credit, you know, sisters sometimes are remote from people and they keep their privacy. Well, she goes to all the parties and all the events, and I know it sometimes it's drudgery when you have to complain, "Oh, we gotta go back to the breakers again." You know? I don't know whether but we have lots of clubs, and when the people have parties or meetings and something with the church, they always want to go to a club, and it gets very tiring, you know. But she's always there, you know. So,
She shared a little bit of that with me too. She
Yeah.
said, you know, I know I need to go and I know I need to be there, but she doesn't, you know, she's not the socialite.
well, for instance, it's a semi-formal at the Breakers, $350 a person, an hour cocktail party in the main room, and then a sit-down dinner with an auction, you know, and all the money of Palm Beach is there that are Catholic. And she says, I feel out of place. And sit with us. So I always have a table just with the sisters and the priests, because we can talk to each other. You know? And then we don't have to deal with the parishioners.
I won't use that.
That's why I don't go to receptions, wedding receptions, because they
Yeah.
work.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
that's more work.
Yeah.
But, you know, really the biggest virtue that Sister has is that she's there. And she changes people quietly, you know. I wouldn't have the patience to do it. Because she has a couple women in her spirituality group that are, have some mental and serious emotional problems. And she's able to keep them under control and actually have them participate.
That's wonderful.
the last person we had here threw them out of class. We had a lay person, so she's got them back into the church and doing things. So, you know, but she's good at reconciling people, you know. And the parish looks up to her. And if she's not here, they ask, where's Sister? I said, she's always on the road. I told her she's a gypsy sister. She's in her car, going here, going there, you know. And I said, you never stay home. And they make no demands on us as far as the convent is concerned. Have you been to the convent?
It's lovely. I stayed the last, well, I was
Oh,
here
that's
last
right,
year.
yeah.
I stayed there. It is, you've really done a remarkable job.
Yeah, it's a nice
really
building
lovely.
now, you know.
Yeah.
And they're embarrassed when they ask for something. I said, no, Sister, tell me what's wrong before it gets bad, you know.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
And we redid the whole house from top to bottom.
It's
great.
really stunning. It really is very stunning.
It's cute.
It's great.
It's a small house. It's only, what, 3 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms upstairs and one
And one,
downstairs.
yeah, because I stayed downstairs. The
Yeah.
sisters are all
And
upstairs.
there's a bathroom there, which is,
Yeah, no, it's very nice. And we walked after dinner at night along the beach and
and
everything.
see, that's what I told Sister Jane, that's the biggest thing of our convent, is that I can tell you it's safe. I think mostly where your sisters are, they have to worry at night,
Mhm.
even if they're safe in the convent.
Yeah, we just came from Miami. We know where that place is.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
But see, we have a policeman goes by, they claim in Palm Beach, the policeman goes by your house every 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow.
And they do,
Crime must be nothing here, huh? No.
well, they have white collar crime, but they have very little.
Mhm.
So if we have a robbery or something, the bridges go up, and they can't get off the island. And they've actually had cars stopped, and the guy's throwing money out the window from the robbery to get rid of him, because he knows he can't go anywhere.
Oh, that's hysterical. Who knew, huh? Oh my gosh, who knew? Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's so funny.
And the other thing, she goes to every wake. When somebody dies, she's at every funeral. You know, she's there, and they know she's there,
Yeah.
you know, which is a big thing.
Sure
And
is.
now that she knows the ones, because she's taking care of them, you know. But it's very hard to get into the house. I'll tell you one story that didn't involve her, was the former pastor here. He got called and they went to bring communion to one of the mansions. And he went to the front door and the maid answered the door and said, use the servant's entrance. So he got in his car and came back. And he called them and he says, the Lord doesn't go in the servant's entrance. The next time you want to receive communion, you get your maid to drive you down here to the church and go to mass. I'm not coming back to your place. You're a rude person. And the other thing they did was, which was, I remember the first week I was here, we went on sick calls with the first Friday. And we got an envelope from everybody with $300 to $400 in it. And I came in, I said, Frank, I went to visit 10 homes, I have over $3,000, this is crazy.
Yeah.
I said, I can't take this money. He said, yeah, I've got the same thing. He said, this is gonna stop. So he called everybody, or wrote to them and said, no, priests are not to take any money the first they call. And we don't come on your time, we come on our time. But see, that's what they would say. We want communion at 4:20 on a Friday afternoon. So they thought you were, he said, I'm not your servant. But that has changed. He changed the parish that way. That's what his big effect on the parish was. You know, because he was not accepted because he was Italian.
So what do you think the biggest influence you have personally had on this parish?
On this parish?
Yes.
I think bringing the children back to the parish. The children were hidden, and we started a children's liturgy at a 9 o'clock mass, and sisters involved with that, where they leave after the opening prayer, and then go do the liturgy of the word themselves, the scripture themselves, and then they have a little class where they talk about it. Then they come back at the offertory and they stand at the communion rounds, kneel at the communion round, and agree in peace. I go down, shake hands with all of them. Then they go back to with their family. So that's a big plus. And we have a little children's choir that sings.
Does Sister teach them during that time? Is she their teacher, or does she just?
No, she's not. No,
Okay.
she organizes we have a faith formation person. Her
Mhm.
sister's right there, making sure that everybody's in place and all.
I would love to see that happen.
But it's a good program,
Mhm.
and it brought the families back, because if the kids come, the parents have to come.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, we don't have very many kids. We only have, our confirmation class was 10. The first communion class is 7. So, you know, we're not talking hundreds of kids.
Wow, that's not very many.
So whenever somebody misses religious education, if 2 people miss, you don't have class. So, but she's more involved with the adults, and I asked her to be involved with the adults because they were left out. And she's very good with the Women's Guild. We have a Women's Guild that is very, how can I say the women? They're financially solvent, more than financially solvent. They have over $300,000 in their savings.
Well, I know that they benefited the sisters because we had a
Yes.
little match program, and they
Yeah,
were kind
well,
enough to.
for the 150th anniversary, they're gonna make a major donation.
Really?
Yes, I'll tell them that. I signed the checks.
Well, Monsignor, if they want to be a part of this documentary, I mean, they don't have to underwrite the whole thing, but we do have sponsorships available.
Okay, send me information.
I will send you information on that,
Yeah.
yes. Did I bring any of it with me? I don't think I did, but if they would like to be a part of that,
Yeah,
that would be
because I think
fabulous.
I want the parish to make a major donation for the
Okay.
150th anniversary too.
That would be,
Thank you.
because what the committee, the lay committee has decided was that our goal was $150,000 for 150 years of service. So that's our goal
Mhm.
that we're working toward. If they would like to be a major part of that, that would be
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah, but they can
Okay.
give,
Perfect.
they can give you 5 to 10 grand without a problem. Well, I was telling you, we did this video of the sisters
Yes.
of the diocese, and then 4 groups came because they saw the credits at the end, which said the Ladies Guild underwrote this video.
Yes.
And the one sister from Hope Rural School, which is for migrant kids, they have a program called Red Bench, where they have 20 youngsters and 2 teachers, and they teach them English and literacy and basic hygiene and sewing
Mhm.
to their 3 and 4-year-olds and their parents.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a program, and it was $5,000 a year for the 20 kids plus their parents and 2 teachers. So I said, on Monday, write the check for $5,000, send it out to sister, we can pay for the whole program. So,
See, but you're helping these people.
but see, that's what our Christmas party will be. See, our Christmas party, they'll get up and explain all the charitable works we're doing, and then they'll have from the heart. We need 50 sewing machines. You know, somebody buy 5 sewing machines, 2 sewing machines, and in 15 minutes, they raise $100,000. Which is amazing. But-
That is amazing.
But then it all goes to charity. Now, one of the things we do here is that, and I think Sister is involved with the sandwiches every Friday.
I've got pictures of her making the sandwiches.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
We feed 800 people every day.
Wow.
Not here, but we make the food and send it down to Boynton Beach to the Caring Kitchen. We do like 250 chickens that they split in half from Sam's. We have a standing order. They do 100 pounds of ground meat on Monday for meatloaves, and then they do spaghetti, and then they do hot dogs, and
You're
then
helping
they do
these people
sandwiches.
get to heaven, Monsignor. You
Yeah.
realize that, don't you?
So, and I asked a couple of them are very wealthy to help with the sandwiches, and I said, why do you help with the sandwiches? She says, because I pray I never have to eat one of them.
Oh, that's funny.
Because they're ham and cheese, or jumbo and cheese,
Yeah,
but
these people
they
don't-
changed it once, and the people complained, they wanted their,
Ham
and
and
also the meatloaf, they wanted meatloaf, because it's easier to chew. I went once down to the Caring Kitchen, and I told them, I'll support you as much as I can, but I can't take this. There were too many kids that hadn't eaten.
Yeah.
And you go, oh my God, these kids haven't eaten all day, this is all they're gonna get.
But you're feeding them. See?
And we're not, Father Frank started the program, it's been here like 15 years.
Yeah.
And we have one lady, she sends a check every month for $3,000 and says, no, thank you, we hired. And she's been doing that for 15 years.
I can't imagine being having that kind of a lifestyle at all.
Well, the one man said that my wife wouldn't know how to bake a potato, or mash a potato if you paid her, and I sure as hell don't know how to do anything, so please find and close some lettuce. And he gave us a check for 10 grand.
Get out of here.
And we have a guy that sends down a trailer truck of, he calls from Michigan, and he sends a trailer truck down of canned food and stuff, and we tell him what we need, sauce, beans, mashed potatoes, things. He owns a big company, so he sends the whole trailer truck down.